The desert had always remembered names that the world forgot. But Fazza's name was different. It lived inside palace walls like an untold warning, whispered through gold-lit corridors where silence carried more danger than words. Every servant lowered their eyes when she passed. Every guard straightened his posture. And every old soul inside Dubai's royal shadows knew one truth nobody dared repeat aloud: the woman called Fazza had survived a heartbreak powerful enough to destroy kingdoms. Once, years ago, she had loved with a softness that frightened even her own heart. Sheikh Hamdan had once stood beneath a midnight sky beside her, promising that some souls were written before birth. His voice carried the calm confidence of a prince who believed fate could be commanded like soldiers. And Fazza, young enough to trust forever, believed him. But forever became a graveyard the night betrayal entered the palace wearing the face of loyalty. Rain almost never touched the desert city, yet that night thunder shattered the heavens above Dubai like divine anger. Fazza stood outside the royal library, her trembling hand still holding the letter she was never supposed to find. The paper smelled of oud and secrets. Every sentence carved another wound into her chest. Sheikh Hamdan's signature rested beneath words that destroyed her universe. An arranged alliance. A royal duty. A future that did not include her. The candles inside the hallway flickered violently as though even the palace itself feared what would happen next. She remembered staring at the marble floor, unable to breathe while distant laughter echoed somewhere inside the palace halls. In that moment, her heart did not simply break. It learned how dangerous love could become when mixed with power. Months passed after that night, but Fazza transformed into something unrecognizable. The warm girl who once wrote poetry beside fountains disappeared behind eyes colder than winter moons. She stopped attending royal gatherings. She stopped trusting smiles. Even the desert horses she once adored sensed the storm growing inside her soul. Rumors spread through the Emirates like wildfire. Some claimed she had left Dubai forever. Others whispered she was preparing revenge against those who buried her future alive. But the truth was far darker. Fazza had made a promise beneath the stars: no one would ever break her heart twice. Not even the man whose name still haunted her silence. Then came the invitation. It arrived without warning on a black velvet envelope sealed with the royal crest. A masquerade gathering inside a private palace near the edge of the desert. Only the most powerful names in the Middle East had been invited. Ministers. Billionaires. Royal bloodlines hidden behind perfect smiles. And Sheikh Hamdan himself would attend after years of disappearing from public life. The moment Fazza saw his name written in silver ink, something ancient awakened inside her chest. Pain mixed with curiosity, hatred mixed with longing. She should have burned the invitation. Instead, she spent hours staring at it beneath candlelight while memories clawed through her mind like ghosts refusing burial. The palace of the masquerade looked unreal beneath the midnight sky. Crystal chandeliers glowed behind massive glass walls while luxury cars lined the entrance like dark predators waiting silently in the sand. Women wore diamonds heavy enough to blind kings. Men carried secrets hidden beneath tailored suits and calm smiles. Music floated through the air like temptation itself. And then Fazza entered. The entire ballroom changed. People stopped speaking. Even the orchestra seemed to hesitate for one impossible second. She wore black silk touched with silver embroidery that shimmered like moonlight across water. A delicate mask hid half her face, but nothing could hide the power inside her eyes. Sheikh Hamdan stood near the center of the ballroom speaking with foreign dignitaries when he saw her. His expression never broke publicly. Years of royal training made sure of that, but the glass in his hand tightened hard enough to crack beneath his fingers. Blood slid across his skin unnoticed. Because after all those years, Fazza had returned looking more dangerous than Heartbreak itself. Neither of them spoke that night. But silence between two wounded souls can scream louder than war. Fazza moved through the ballroom like a mystery nobody could solve. Powerful men tried speaking to her. Wealthy princes offered dances. She refused them all with graceful coldness. Yet every few moments, her gaze returned toward Sheikh Hamdan. And every single time, she caught him already watching her. The tension between them spread through the palace like electricity before a storm. Old memories burned alive inside hidden glances. The scent of oud and roses brought back nights they once shared beneath desert stars. Yet something darker existed now. Something dangerous. Because Fazza noticed fear inside his eyes for the first time in history. Near midnight, she finally escaped onto a private balcony overlooking endless dunes glowing beneath moonlight. Cold wind touched her hair as distant music faded behind palace walls. She closed her eyes for one fragile moment until footsteps approached from the shadows. "You came," Sheikh Hamdan said quietly. His voice alone almost destroyed her control. Fazza turned slowly. "You sound surprised." For a moment neither moved. Years of heartbreak stood between them like invisible fire. Sheikh Hamdan looked older now, not in age but in exhaustion. Power still surrounded him naturally, yet pain lived beneath his calm expression. The kind of pain that comes from losing something irreplaceable. "You disappeared," he whispered. "You replaced me." The words struck harder than any weapon. Silence swallowed the balcony again. Somewhere far below, fountains danced beneath golden lights while royalty celebrated inside, unaware that two broken hearts stood at war above them. Sheikh Hamdan stepped closer carefully, like approaching a wounded lioness. "You never knew the truth." Fazza laughed softly, but sadness poisoned the sound. "Truth?" she asked. "Truth is watching someone promise eternity while secretly preparing goodbye. You think I wanted that marriage? You signed the papers." His jaw tightened painfully. "Because I had no choice." "Everyone has a choice." The wind roared louder between them. Sheikh Hamdan looked away toward the desert horizon, his eyes dark with memories. When he spoke again, his voice carried something unfamiliar: guilt. If I refused, he said slowly, someone would have died. Fazza froze. For the first time that night, uncertainty entered her heart. Sheikh Hamdan reached into his coat and removed an old photograph. The edges were worn from years of hiding. He handed it to her carefully. Fazza stared at the image beneath moonlight and felt her blood turn cold. It showed her younger brother surrounded by armed men near an abandoned desert compound. A date was written beneath the picture: the exact night Sheikh Hamdan abandoned her. They threatened your family, he whispered. The alliance protected them. The world around Fazza suddenly felt unstable. Her breathing became shallow. Every memory she carried for years began collapsing apart like glass shattered from the inside. Sheikh Hamdan watched her silently, pain burning inside his eyes. I let you hate me, he said quietly. Because hatred was safer than burying you beside the people they already killed. A tear escaped before Fazza could stop it. Not because her heart still loved him, but because somewhere deep inside, it never stopped. Yet before another word could be spoken, a gunshot exploded through the palace. Screams erupted below. The ballroom transformed instantly into chaos. Guards shouted. Guests ran across marble floors. Another gunshot shattered crystal somewhere inside the palace. Sheikh Hamdan grabbed Fazza's wrist instinctively and pulled her away from the balcony entrance just as masked men stormed the upper hallway carrying weapons. This was never a party, he muttered darkly. The lights died. Darkness consumed everything. Fazza's heartbeat thundered violently as distant screams echoed through the palace. Sheikh Hamdan pulled her through hidden corridors behind the royal chambers while armed footsteps hunted them from every direction. The truth hit her slowly with horrifying clarity: tonight was an assassination attempt. And somehow, both of them were targets. Inside the darkness of a hidden chamber beneath the palace, Fazza finally understood the cruelest truth fate had hidden all along. Their love story had never ended. It had simply been interrupted by war, and now the same enemies who once forced them apart had returned to finish what they started years ago. Sheikh Hamdan stood beside her, breathing heavily, a pistol hidden beneath his jacket while alarms echoed through underground tunnels. His eyes met hers again after years of distance, heartbreak, and silence. I can protect your life, he whispered carefully. Fazza stared at him with trembling eyes filled by memories, pain, and dangerous unfinished love. But this time, she said softly, protect my heart too. And somewhere above them, beneath burning palace lights and collapsing royal secrets, destiny finally began writing their story again.